On to our top story straight away. MS Dhoni has not ruled out playing another World Cup for India. Speaking at the post-match press conference after India's defeat to Australia in the semi-final on Thursday, Dhoni said he would probably think about his long-term plans after next year's World T20. According to information available with headlines today, Dhoni had told a top BCCI administrator after his test retirement in December that he will play the 2019 World Cup. His post-match comments seem to reaffirm his earlier stand. Dhoni reportedly told the BCCI official, and I quote, "I will play the 2019 World Cup." Dhoni had handed over the captaincy of the Test team to Virat Kohli after his retirement from Test cricket in December, but continues to remain India's captain in the shorter formats of the game. All right, let's now talk to Rasesh Mandhani, who joins us from Bombay. Rasesh, what more do we know on this matter? What more do we know about Dhoni's plans for his professional future?
The piece of information that we are now privy to is the conversation that MS Dhoni had with a top BCCI official in late December when he made the announcement to retire from Test match cricket. That's when the administrator wanted to know from Dhoni. He was quite shocked with the move itself and wanted to know of his one-day plans, and Dhoni told him that he would play the 2019 World Cup. So what was widely believed and speculated that perhaps after the Test retirement, if India do go on and do well in the 2015 World Cup, he may want to give up the game altogether, give up one-day cricket, just continue playing franchise cricket. It's not going that way. And Dhoni's post-match comment yesterday as well sort of pushed towards that. Dhoni may have come out and said that it's a call that he may take in a year's time after the T20 World Cup. He obviously doesn't want to send a message across saying that he's the one who's going to decide that he'll play the next World Cup and take the decision away from the selector. So to keep that message away, he's made a guarded comment. But we know now that it was in Dhoni's mind all along. And people close to Dhoni also say that Dhoni always wanted to continue playing the one-day game and that he's targeting the 2019 World Cup. They say if that wasn't his plan, then he would have given up the game yesterday itself.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rasesh, for those inputs. Well, after a great run in the World Cup that saw India win 7 straight matches, came the disheartening loss to Australia in the semis. As the Indian team prepares for challenges ahead, here's a wrap on the highs and the lows of India's World Cup campaign.
A tournament that began with such promise ended in despair for the nation.
They have to find a way to have a hard look at themselves and say how we can be a better side in alien conditions.
India trounced heavyweights like Pakistan and South Africa in the opening 2 matches. Teams like West Indies and minnows like UAE, Ireland and Zimbabwe were next to be blown away by India's might in the group stage. And when India made it 7-0 against Bangladesh in the quarterfinals, Indian fans were dreaming again. The campaign, though, came to a screeching halt in Sydney against co-host Australia, who proved they were the better team on the day and perhaps a superior side overall. But what exactly went wrong for the team in the semi-final? Australia started off better even without a ball being bowled, that by winning a crucial toss. Steve Smith terrorized Indian bowlers the whole summer and then again in the semi-final, proving to be the match winner for the Aussies. Indian bowlers still cannot solve this puzzle.
Steven Smith got 100 in less than run a ball. It's just that at certain phases batsmen go through the purple patches.
The Indian batsmen imploded under pressure at the Sydney cricket ground. But what was striking was the way these top-class batsmen got out.
Once in a semi-final you get 328 on the board, you always know that you're in the game, and the pressure was just too much on India really, and they lost those early wickets. So I think if India were honest, I think in Australian conditions the better side won.
Team India have relinquished their crown to be called the best in the world for the next 4 years, and now begins the long walk back towards greatness. Dhoni will still be around at least until the World T20 in 2016 in India. But for the team, it will be another exercise at rebuilding soon. Sports Bureau headlines today.
All right, so Andrew, Nikhil, before I ask my first question, I've got to point out, it seems like the two of you have got some sort of a deal going, huh? Matching shirts, matching trousers, in fact, matching shoes as well to an extent.
Now I'm rooting for the Australian side to win the World Cup.
Yeah, I've got my green pants on. Nikhil took me to his shop today and fitted me out with some nice clothing, Cotton World.
We went to Cotton World, so let me fit you out with some Indian nice cotton stuff.
All right, on a serious note, Andrew, at the beginning of the tournament, did you really seriously think that India had a serious chance of reaching the semis?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they copped a pounding during the Australian summer, but when you go into a World Cup competition, you completely reset, and what's gone is gone. So it was a good way for them to attack something fresh and start again. And then once they started, you know, there was a question marks over their bowling, and their bowlers bowled really well. And bowled all the sides out, and the batsmen scored their runs, and generally you'd have to say India had a good World Cup.
Nikhil, MS Dhoni saying that he will think about his long-term future after the 2016 World T20, and of course at 33 as a wicket-keeper, do you see him continuing to till the 2019 World Cup?
Well, if he keeps fit, why not? Because we haven't seen his form dip in the shorter version of the game. We haven't seen him struggle in one particular series or maybe two series where you can, you know, seriously point fingers and say that maybe he's not good enough now to play for India. That hasn't been the case. If he stays fit, form is still right there, why would you want to change him?
All right, hold on to those thoughts. I'll come back to you, gentlemen. All right, let's now listen into what Saurav Ganguly and Nasir Hussain had to say on India's struggle against Australia and their dream run till the semis. They spoke to Boria Majumdar.
Heartbreak for India, jubilation for Australia. Why? How? What's the way forward for Indian cricket? To talk about it, two of the men who've done it for their respective countries for the longest time. Nasir Hussain and Saurav Ganguly. Nasir, to you first. What went wrong? Where does Indian cricket go from here?
I think the better side won, to be honest. I said to you over the last couple of days about home advantage. Clark wins a toss at home on a good pitch, and once in a semi-final you get 328 on the board, you always know that you're in the game, and the pressure was just too much on India really, and they lost those early wickets. So I think if India were honest, I think in Australian conditions the better side won.
Saurav, you've already pointed out a few serious issues. Can you tell us 3 issues that you want rectified once this team goes back home?
I think, as Nasir said, they haven't won a game in Australia for the last 4 months, and this has been in quite a few places around the world, especially when they go out of the subcontinent, whether it's New Zealand, South Africa, England or Australia, and I think they'll have to find a way to do that. They'll have to find a way to have a hard look at themselves and say how we can be a better side in alien conditions, where there is space, where there's not much of spin. That's one area they'll really have to look at. They'll have to see how they can bat deeper.
If you actually look at this team, I mean, will you be satisfied with what you've seen so far? I mean, at least in the World Cup, or do you think there are areas that India really need to get stuck into and improve?
Well, there's always areas you can improve, but I think there have been signs of improvement. I agree with Saurav about India's general play away from home has not been great over the last few years, but there have been signs in this World Cup, not before the World Cup, in this World Cup, the way the 3-seamers bowled, the way Ashwin has decided to go back to being an old-fashioned off-spin bowler, tossing it up, flight, and going through, you know, his variations bowling well, the way some young batsmen have come on, you know, the way they're improving. Rahani's playing, Dhawan, you know, Rohit. There are signs of improvement. The fielding, the athleticism, the fitness of the team.
Well, India's colourful, vibrant and fearless World Cup campaign ended with a whimper on Thursday with their loss against Australia. But there is no doubt Dhoni and his team will take a lot of positives from their eventful 2015 edition. Cheers more.
You know, to manage, you know, we were here for close to over 2 months, and then we had another 2 months, you know. So all in all, you know, it was a tough one for us. You know, the test matches didn't go our way, the tri-series didn't go our way, so it was important to, you know, have a good dressing room atmosphere, and all the members, including the support staff, you know, they were just brilliant.
The Indian team was bruised and battered when they arrived at Adelaide to start their title defence. But what followed next shocked everyone. Unbeaten in the group stage with a near-perfect display. To everyone's amaze, the bowlers came to the fore as they bowled out 6 teams on the trot in the pool games. Indian bowlers bowled 19 maidens and had an economy rate of 4.72, best in their pool. The batsmen too came to the party as India lost only 27 wickets in the pool games, best among the 14 sides. New Zealand was the second best with 35. The batsmen also scored with an average of 53.48 runs per wicket, highest by any side in the pool stages. India's fielding was outstanding as the fielders took 45 catches in the first 6 games, most among all sides. For the first time in a tournament, Indian bowlers overshadowed the batsmen, a unique feat which will give India a lot of confidence when they next play outside the subcontinent. Indian team was flawless till semis before they ran into the world #1 side and on the day succumbed. But Dhoni's team can take inspiration from their performance in the 2015 World Cup. They were never the favourites to win the title, but they certainly did play like the defending champions. The emergence of Mohit Sharma, the maturity of Ashwin, the growth of Shami, the control of Umesh we witnessed augurs well for men in blue. The only question remains on Ravindra Jadeja, who was a total disappointment with the bat and lukewarm with the ball. But this unit has shown it can take India forward. Now if only we can replicate this show in Test too. Sports Bureau headlines today.
All right, so Andrew, what are the positives, the big positives and the negatives to have emerged for India out of this World Cup, of course, and what's that one standout performance and the Indian MVP for you out of this World Cup?
Well, I think as a unit, I think the way they hit back after the pounding they received in Australia, that they showed character to do that. And then for me, I think the way that the Indian seamers bowled, you know, there was a lot of questions over whether they'd be able to stand up in this World Cup and do the job, and they definitely did. In my opinion, you know, they bowled as a unit well. They worked out what lengths to bowl, lines to bowl. They used the short ball well, so that you could see they put some thought into the way that they were attacking oppositions. And for me, the standout player, I think, would have to be Shikhar Dhawan. I think the way he played against South Africa, that 100 he got against South Africa was a quality innings. And that
one standout performance by the Indian team? And
one standout performance, that would be the game when they beat South Africa. South Africa were never in that game. They didn't give them a chance, and that was when everyone probably stood up and realised that they were over the Australian summer and that they were right into trying to win this World Cup.
Nikhil, what about you? One Indian performance that gave you the most joy, and of course 8 years of captaincy. How do you think MS Dhoni has evolved and emerged as a captain? Do you think his decision in December to hang up his boots, the Test captaincy, has also had a sort of a result or a sort of an impact on how he's performed so far as a captain?
Well, I guess first and foremost, Himanshu, there have been a couple of performances, not just one. You spoke about Shikhar Dhawan, he's done well in the World Cup. I thought Ashwin, you know, the way he's bowled, understood the pace and bounce of the wicket, he's come back to bowling off spin, he did well. The quicker bowlers, with their experience from the Australian summer, you know, finding it difficult to pick wickets, coming back and bowling so well in the World Cup, I think that was, you know, something to really write home about. Talking about Mahendra Singh Dhoni's captaincy, I think now that he's given up with the longer version of the game, he can completely be relaxed and more focused in terms of captaincy for the shorter version. We all know what a fantastic captain he is. You know, he stays calm under pressure. He looks to get the best out of some of his players as well. So I just hope that people are talking about when is he going to retire. I hope that he can continue on playing and serving Indian cricket over a long period of time, because he still has a lot of cricket left in him in terms of playing for his country and international cricket. I don't think it'll be very easy to find a replacement for Mahendra Singh Dhoni, because he's been so consistent in international cricket.
To the views of Saurav Ganguly and Nasir Hussain on Virat Kohli's evolution as a player on this long tour to Australia and the way forward for MS Dhoni.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni says he'll continue. I mean, fair enough, he's done well as captain, very well as captain. What are the challenges in front of Mahendra Singh Dhoni now?
I think slightly easier for him now because the breaks he'll get. As Indian captain, Saurav will tell you, or England captain, it's all-encompassing, the job. You do everything, whether it be selection, fitness, whatever, you do everything. Stops at your door. So when he was doing Test match cricket and one-day cricket, I think it did get a bit on top of him, and Test matches had to go. I think the breaks will now do him some good. I know he's got IPL coming up, but after that, try and fit in some proper breaks away from the game, so that when he gets to putting that blue shirt back on for India, he's got loads of energy, he's full of energy, and he's playing, you know, good cricket, which is what we've seen of him in this World Cup. He's had energy.
Same question for both of you. Virat Kohli was supposed to deliver for India in this World Cup. I mean, he did it against Pakistan, got a few 30s and 40s. Overall, happy or disappointed?
I think he's had a good 4 months in Australia. 500s in this country is not a mean achievement. Yes, he didn't fire in a big semi-final. It happens in India that you expect one man to win you. But that doesn't happen in sport. Once you get 329, it's not easy, especially against an attack like this who's at you all the time. When you chase such totals, you play 7 or 8 dot balls and you're looking for a big hit. And if it doesn't go, it's not your day, it doesn't go for you, you get out. And that's exactly what's happened to Virat Kohli. He's India's best batsman by far. And India will ride on his shoulders to take Indian cricket forward.